Welcome once again to another edition of Plane Talk with your buddy Walter. What we're going to talk about today are the three Amigos I have here. They're all jack planes. They're all close in age. And today I thought I'd plane some real nice curly maple and show you that even a plane in its as found condition with just the honing of the blade works perfectly. So the topic today is kind of to understand what you're looking at when you're buying a used plane. The topic goes across all the different sizes, but dating a plane, even using modern internet searches and everything, is not an exact science. I can't tell you exactly the age of these tools, but I can tell you that based on my experience, these are in the order of age is oldest, middle, newer. But they're all very close, starting here. This plane, based on everything that I found at hyperkitten.com, that's hyperkitten.com, everything except one thing indicates that it's a type 11. Starting with, there is no ring under the knob. There is no rib on the front of the plane. There is no name on the lever cap. It does have rosewood tote and knob. And it has the 3 patent dates back here, plus the smaller brass adjusting knob. So it all points to a type 11. However, because of the tall knob, it bumps it into the type 12. When Stanley manufactured their planes in the volume that they did, there was overlap from one model year to the next, and that's why a lot of the parts do fit each other, and therein lies the term Frankenplane. There are planes out there that might have a lever cap from the 1950s or 60s, a blade from 1900, a body from who knows. You know, it's just hard to tell sometimes because planes have been taken apart, rebuilt, and resold over and over. But these, I believe, are in all intact, original, as-found condition. So, let's take a little closer look. On the first one, the Type 12, there's your lever cap, iron, and cap iron, and blade. Chip breaker is sometimes what they call that. To the best of my knowledge, this blade does not look as if it was used. I'm looking at the original factory grinds on it. The body does not look like it ever was sanded, cleaned, or polished. All the original grinding marks are in it. The frog is a little interesting because it has what I call shiny scratches in this surface here, but yet there's black here. But yet I'm not sure if somebody did clean this up, but I do know it either was removed and replaced, or it was removed and the person lost the washers that go underneath the screw. There are 2 washers missing there. So There is a little bit of question on this one as to how much of it is original. I believe it is all original. I don't know how much cleaning, if any, was ever done to it. Then we go and we move on up to the orange background on the Stanley logo. That's the one that I always look for. That's the one that's the type that I like. And it always amazes me that you can take a plane from out of a box of other planes and just put it right to work. Jack planes are that way. Jack planes, you don't have to flatten the sole of a jack plane for jack plane work. In other words, roughing, jointing, you're not doing finishing cuts. You're just removing material. However, if you want it to work more like a smoother, you can get it to where it takes absolutely pristine cuts, and it can be used as a smoothing plane. So you can see these are very similar. This one has what looks to be a little more chrome, but I haven't polished this up or anything. So, what type is this? Well, based on my research, it is a type 16. But could it be a 17 or even an 18? A lot of times it's very tricky to figure out which one. But this version here is the version that I look for most often. So, as you can see, this one was used. You can see the patina, a little bit of rusting that had been oiled over, and that is pretty much the way that plane is going to stay. And it's got the rosewood knob and tote. Now, this one, I'm not so sure if this one ever was used. It does have a patent number behind the lever cap, and I know beyond a shadow of a doubt that this blade set was never used. All the original machining scratches, everything is all there, and all the edges are sharp. Everything. You can feel the sharpness on every corner. Now there is a 141 on the iron. Some people say that that stands for January of 1941, which would fall into a type 16. Type 16, according to Hyper Kitten, the type 16 is 1933 to 1941. So that is just the beginning of the war. So I'm not sure. It doesn't say anything here about whether or not they let some go out without paint behind in the background or not. So I'm having to assume that that's all original. Another thing about this plane is it has a corrugated sole. The corrugated sole does not appear to have ever been used on wood. I don't see any wear marks anywhere. So I am to assume at this point, unless I'm corrected, that this plane is in new condition as found. So what are these worth? What should one pay for these? Well, there was a time when you could find a jack plane in a garage sale or on the flea market circuit for $5 to $10. You could buy them all day long for that price. Today, you can't even get a rust bucket of a plane for $10. $20 maybe, you can start getting into a plane that is in rusty enough condition to get a discount, but not so badly rusted that you can't bring it back and make a good user out of it. But to find planes in these conditions, well, the price is one of those things, it's supply and demand. I would not expect that you can buy a plane like this for much less than $50 to $75, where all you have to do is hone the blade and you take curly maple shavings like this. Now, I have not sharpened either of these outer two because I'm not sure what I'm going to do with it. So if this is a Type 12, but it has the patent date of 1910, it also has, it's the triple patent date, the 02, the 02, and the 10, and that kind of always put it in the Type 11, but high knob puts it into Type 12. So it could be, according to Hyperkitten, the Type 11, which is what I did the research on, is up to 1918. So this is post 1918. But even still, virtually brand new condition. I'm not sure, like I say, I'm just not sure if this was ever used or if this is... It's got the right markings on the blade, so the blade is the right one. It has an H. There's an H stamped on the blade. I don't know what that stands for. And I'm sure that somewhere under the frog there's probably some sort of casting code or whatever. But regardless, the three Amigos here are wonderful little planes. So people ask a lot of times, Walter, why is it that every single plane that you use has the same quality of cut every time? Well, it's all about sharpening, and I don't go to crazy sharpening levels. However, I've done it so many times, it's like second nature to me. A sharp edge is nothing more than two flat planes coming together to meet at virtually infinity. But they come to meet at a point, at an apex, where you polish them to some degree of sharpness to achieve your task. So at this point, this is more than achieving my task. And if I put a little voodoo juice, the jojoba oil, oh gosh, it's like nothing. I mean, seriously, once you get the cut started, it just keeps going. It's a little bit of lubrication on the bottom of your sole. So I guess we're going to have to do another video on sharpening, because a lot of people have asked. And I guess that's one of the biggest frustrations in the use of hand planes, is when people take a hand plane to an edge, like this curly maple. If I were to take oh, let's see, which one of my planes? If I were to take my woody to this, it's sharp, it should take a clean cut, but it may chip out because this has no chip breaker. You know? I feel a little bit, yeah, but you can feel it. So it's not cutting quite as smooth. But if you put a chip breaker on that blade and you get it to take even finer cut, it'll clean it right up. There you go. So we'll do that another day. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments section. Message me on Facebook. Ask away and we'll address them in some subsequent edition of Plane Talk. So for right now, this is Walter, planing away. Over and out. Have yourself a great day.